Good afternoon. This is Merlin Gonzalez from Noblesville, Indiana, a suburb of Indianapolis. And the reason I mentioned that is that we are live now, and our guest is from France, a suburb of France. Yesterday we had Luca from Serbia, and now from France. So again, we just want to find out what's going on all around not just the country, but also all around the world. So I have Julian, and he's going to talk about how it's look like. For those of you who haven't been to Paris, to France, to that part of the world, I think this you will find this as very interesting conversation because again our guest is live from France and he's going to talk about what it look like to live in France and also what it's look like to be in that place. So we have someone that's saying bonjour and. So what? Okay, let me go ahead and bring Julian here. Hi, Julian.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I know it's already evening in France. So
Yes.
give us an introduction of yourself, your family, and also the place that you are living.
Okay. So I'm Julien. I'm 22 and I live in France, in a small village in the north of Paris. So my passion is aviation, and for now I'm a student in an aviation school in Toulouse, a big city in the southern part of France. But and to be an air traffic controller. That was my dream, and it's coming true. So I'm really happy. But with the current conditions, I'm currently at home, so in my small village with my family. Um, my mom is a civil servant. She works for the government, like me later. My dad is a chemist, and my sister is in her last year of high school.
Oh, that's good. So you live in Fresnoy and Thale. Can you say that?
Yeah, so with a French accent, it's like Fresnoy-en-Telle. It's
Oh,
a
okay.
really small village with 1,000 inhabitants, really small. And so it's not the city here. It's a village with quite some big houses, but for a French person, it's like big houses, but for an American, maybe not.
Hmm.
um, so my village is situated at around 50 kilometers in the north of Paris, so it's around 30 miles. And it's countryside here. The main activity is farming with wheat, potatoes, corn, etc.
Yeah.
And maybe in France we love bread and we have bakeries everywhere, but unfortunately not in my village.
Oh no. So where do you get your bread then? You have to drive far.
Exactly. Not far, just in the nearest town, there are two bakeries, so we go there.
All right. So for those of you who are joining us just now, or maybe watching this on a replay, we are here live with Julian from France, and he's going to now give us his perspective as far as what's going on in France right now during this COVID-19 pandemic. So tell us what's going on right now. The culture. Maybe start with what the culture looked like before COVID-19, and then now how did it affect your town, or maybe Paris, or the entire country?
Okay, so Actually, France is the most visited country in the world, so we are used to see tourists everywhere. Not in my small village, but especially in Paris. It's not really far from my village, so I go there sometimes, and I used to see the transportations overcrowded and all the monuments like the Eiffel Tower, the Arc of Triumph, the Champs-Élysées. They are really famous. So it's really crowded and not empty at all. And now we see pictures on TV with the media. It's empty everywhere, even in the most famous monuments. Of course, they are closed with the confinement, but it's really surprising to see the most crowded places in Paris empty now. So for
Yeah,
now, with the confinement, so everybody have to stay at home, and so every city follows the government. Um, for now, it's like a dead country when you go outside.
yeah. So have you been to, of course, people from all over the world, they know Paris, they heard of Paris. So have you been to Paris lately?
Uh, not not lately. So when the confinement started, so I stayed at home, of course. But before, maybe the last time I went to Paris was 6 months ago, I think.
All right. Now you mentioned that France or Paris is one of the most visited places in the world. Um, and most people, they just think about Paris. Is there
Mhm.
any other places there that people go from other countries to visit?
So yes, when you think about France, most people think about Paris, the Eiffel Tower, the Champs-Élysées, because they are probably the most famous places in France. But actually, uh, there are many cities and monuments all around the France, and many castles, for example. Um, so if you want to go to France, of course you have to go to Paris because there are many monuments. Even me, I saw a small part of all the monuments in Paris. It's really huge. But of
Mhm.
course, you can travel all around France. You have always something to visit. It's not like just Paris and somewhere else, nothing.
Right, right. Um, Now, so after with this COVID-19, how does it look like in your hometown now?
So my village is not really big, so not many cars pass over the days during a normal situation. So now it's almost the same thing, but you just see some people walking in the street, passing by your house. For me, in my village, it seems normal, but when you when you take your car and drive to another city, the roads are really empty. So that's where you realize we are in a confinement period. We see
Right.
it.
So people are really adhering or following what the government is saying. Are there like any protests as far as like keep us out of our house?
Exactly. All demonstrations are forbidden, of course, with the confinement. So it's really calm outside. Everybody has to stay at home, and everybody who can work from home has to work from home. Otherwise, you need an authorization from your workplace to take your car and go to your workplace
Hmm.
because the government wants people to be confined, mm, really confined.
Okay. So I want to show one question here. Of
Oh,
course,
in
this is
French.
French. So if you can read that and then answer it in your own native language. so that those people who are, I know there are some people who's going to be watching this later on, who would like to learn French or also have been to France. So if you could do that, that would be great.
Okay. So the question is,
So go ahead
il y a...
and read that in French and then answer it in French.
Ok. Est-ce qu'il y a des différences entre les restrictions à votre ville, Paris et Toulouse? Donc non, il n'y a pas de différence parce que les villes n'ont pas le droit de prendre leurs propres initiatives et de faire leurs propres règles, et elles suivent toutes le gouvernement, et, ça se passe très bien pour l'instant, donc à mon avis, ça va continuer comme ça.
All right. So could you translate that in English, the question and also your answer?
Yeah, of course. So the question is, are there some differences between cities in France, like Paris and Toulouse? Because my school is in Toulouse, so I know this city. And to compare it to my village, it's a big city because there are 500,000 inhabitants. So the second biggest city in France.
I see.
So there are no differences because each cities have to follow the government and are not allowed to create their own rules. So there are some exceptions, but on average, they have to follow the government and to respect the current laws with the confinement period. So everybody has to stay at home, and if it keeps going like this and if it works, it's okay and it won't be more restrictive.
Yes. Well, my wife is saying hi to you. That was Amy.
Hi.
And we have another question here from Kayla.
Oh. Okay. So the question is, do you think French people will change their habits after the COVID crisis? For example, to do the kiss to say hello. Because in France, that's true. I don't really know if Americans know this, but to say hello, we do 2 kisses on the cheeks. That's how we do here. And with the crisis period, it's not really safe. you could get the COVID. So for now, we have to keep a 3-foot distance between people when you go to visit people. Of course, it's safer and not to get the COVID. And between men, we used to shake hands. So it's the same thing. It's not really safe with the COVID. So I think maybe it will change a bit after the crisis.
Yes. How does the churches and also the grocery stores? I know here in the United States they don't close the grocery store because that's we need food, but at the same time for the churches they actually close the churches because they don't want people to congregate or to come together like 10 or more people. How is it there?
Yeah, exactly. So here it depends on the stores because sometimes it's the number of people is regulated. For example, if they allow only 10 people inside the store, you have to wait to queue at the entrance. And when a person goes outside the store, you can enter it.
Okay.
But other ones don't really care about this, and they allow everybody in the store. So for now, it's not a law. The government doesn't urge people, doesn't urge stores to regulate the number of people inside. And I think it will continue like this.
I see.
And about churches, so you probably know Notre Dame in Paris burned, the roof burned last year or 2 years ago, I don't remember. And for the first time, they did a mass in this period. I don't really know why. But so I think the religion is not compromised and things keeps going.
Okay. So tell us a little bit as far as are there like what we call here food insecure people. That means people who are not starving to death, but they cannot afford to buy nutritious food. How does Paris respond to the people who are hungry in your country?
So usually it's more about the homeless people who are hungry in France, and you used to have some NGOs. They help homeless people. They give them food, and people like me can give food. You buy, for example, more food than you need, and you give some of them to an organization, a humanitarian organization. But for now, it's a bit complicated for them. Homeless people can't be confined, of course, and so it creates some
Uh-huh.
problems and discussions. It's a problem. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But so the government give some food to the homeless, do they?
So not the government actually. It's
Really?
it's it's about generosity. People give food to organizations, and other people give food to homeless people in cities. They walk in the cities um, and they visit some homeless people and help them.
I see. All right. Well, we're almost out of time. I thank you for joining us. Do you have anything that you would like to share before we end the program?
So I think I said what I wanted to say. So thank you welcoming me in this program.
All right. Well, say hi to your family
Mhm.
and please keep safe and healthy.
You too.
All right, Julia, and God bless you. It's good to talk to you again.
Me too. My pleasure.
Goodbye.
Bye.